we have a very special guest. As you remember, last year we had an event called Champions for Recovery, and we honor, every year we honor different people around the country, whether they know us or not, but we know them, we follow them, we know what they're doing for recovery, and today we have our 2009 Champion for Recovery, Congressman Patrick Kennedy. No one has done more for recovery in the country from our nation's capital than the Congressman. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Congressman Patrick Kennedy.
Let's give a great round of applause to Nellie, who makes this happen. Everybody who makes this place work, this is a success story. And everybody who is part of it is part of that success story. And what you all build here is going to be the model that helps people all over this country. Because if you set it up here and you show that it can work, the need is out there. And so everyone in this place has a role to play in providing the answers, because we all know our country needs the answer. We don't have a systems approach to taking care of people. We take care of health care here, sick care here, education here, job training here, housing here, blah, 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 blah. We're not taking care of a person and what their needs are. And Safe Haven is the model for how we can do it better. It's a better mousetrap. And you know what it does? Is it appeals to the politics of this time, which is pretty strange politics, as you can probably see from the outside. The politics of now that says we've got to scale back government, and government doesn't work, government's the answer, not the solution. Well, we'll show you a way to save money, cut the deficit, and make people happier. And it'll cost less. Because, you know what, now we're not putting programs to fit programs, we're putting programs to fit people. So it's just not one size fits all, because I went to treatment umpteen times, I've lost count. I've been to rehab that many times. And you know what, that one size fits all doesn't fit my needs. I need someone in my life that can help me in my life. But reimbursement doesn't provide for that support. I pay for it because I'm able to out of pocket after taxes. Wouldn't it be great if we define supported living as healthcare, supported employment as healthcare, supported housing as healthcare? We have the opportunity to do that now in this country, thanks to the healthcare bill that everyone's running down. They don't understand that wasn't the answer. That just opened the door. The answer now is implementing that. And we can reimburse for keeping people out of the emergency rooms, out of the criminal justice system, out of critical care settings. That's a winner for the economy, for the budget. But you know what? Most importantly, it's a winner for people that don't have to go through the old routes in order to get help. Because the only way they get help is if they get sick. And then the system comes into play and pays for your care. What about health care? Health means keeping you out of the sick care, which is more costly and expensive. Safe Haven has an opportunity to show where if you're working, if you got that job and you're getting more credentials so that you can get a higher paid job, that makes you more successful, and you can measure that. And then they can measure that next to the alternative, not having supportive education, not having supportive counseling or the like. What happens to you then? Well, they can take a population size of people, de-identify whether you're John, Judy, Harry, whatever, and just identify you as individuals who are part of a population that is very costly. Because we're frequent flyers to the ER. We're frequent flyers to the criminal justice. We're frequent flyers in terms of social services. And guess what? Now we can put it into a If we can show safe haven through measuring groups of people over a period of time, is changing it up. Because you got a job, because you have a housing, you're not doing this, you're not doing, you're not ending up in a bad situation for yourself, but for our country in terms of the cost to the taxpayer and the like. Guess what? We'll get more money to get more people off the street, more people with counseling, more people with supportive living, more people with supportive housing, more people overall that get a chance at life, whereas the only way they go now is in a negative direction that's stigmatized. So you're actually part of a really neat endeavor that relies on your being productive and putting into it, because what happens here, if we do it right, with the atmosphere out there that says we don't want any answers from Washington or from government or all, we come up with a better model, that thing's going to roll, because people will look at, a lot of people will look at just the bottom line. Let's say, oh, this is great, this saves us money. Well, guess what? It saves us money and it saves us lives. It saves us a lot of people's anguish, because they'd rather stay at home than go to a long-term extended care place. But they can only do it if they've got someone there helping them. Maybe someone with their food, someone with their, I'm always amazed, this Meals on Wheels program, it isn't the meal, it's the visit that makes a difference for people who are on Meals on Wheels, because otherwise they're isolated. They're living alone, they're shacked up, no one visits them. This is what it's all about. It's doing what we know works intuitively in our gut, but we don't pay for it right now. But if we can show that we can save money over here, and people like that now, because now there's this thing called a deficit and a budget, and everybody doesn't want to pay taxes. Hey, guess what? We got a good way to save money. And guess what? It saves lives. Not like you care about that, but while we're saving money, hey, that's kind of a side benefit, fringe benefit that we actually make people happy. Not that we want to do that. So I really think what you guys are up to is terrific. I encourage you to keep it going. And, we've got a great opportunity. I was telling you, the one thing we really do need to do is to get the politics right. You have an opportunity now to elect a new mayor in Chicago. They need to know who Safe Haven is. They need to know all the people that are involved who are registered to vote, whose families are registered to vote, and who go by the moniker, I'm Safe Haven and I vote. Because you're going to have a multitude of candidates out there who are going to want your vote, and you say, hey, before you get my vote, are you okay with the Safe Haven platform? Well, tell me what's the Safe Haven platform. Safe Haven platform is, as mayor, you support CDBG money, community development block money, for X. As mayor, you're going to open up a one-stop shopping center in the Safe Haven house. As mayor, are you going to do X, Y, Z? Are you going to implement our program for conversion? Are you going to implement our program for primary care? All of which will save the city money, all of which you should want to do anyway. But if we put it on our little list, and then they have to come by, instead of them giving you a whole hooey about what they stand for, have them talk to us about what our needs are. Because now they need something from us. They need our vote. So, okay, we'll give you our vote if. Where do you grade? A? You get a grade A because you're with all of our stuff? Or are you a C? Because someone else is going to come by here. We've got 10 buildings, 25 locations, we've got culinary arts, we've got, landscaping, we've got X, Y, and Z. And guess what? We're big. Safe Haven is big. Now let's make it powerful. The way you make it powerful is you vote. And you participate, and you make sure those politicians know that you mean business. When I've been in Congress, I've seen for years the NRA has, total say on what happens. Nothing goes in that place. We're issuing licenses for everybody in the country and their kids to own guns. Because it's a productive enterprise for the gun manufacturers. They couldn't care less about the suicide rates, homicide rates, the fact that if you just kept one or two guns out of the wrong hands, you could save people's lives, the whole tragedy. So, why are they so powerful? They only represent a small population, but that population is organized and they vote. And you know how you get more powerful now? Is with fewer people organized, fewer people voting, you have more power. Because if you're doing it, you got the power of all those that aren't doing it. If now there's only 20% of the people who are voting, rather than 67% that were voting when my uncle was president of the United States, it's a big difference. So now when you're voting, your vote does count. Because it's counting for those 35 other people who are eligible but are not voting. And what's more, you're saying, you want my vote, this is what I want. And now they know, hey, God is saying, they're in it to win it. They're in it to win it. And you got something to bargain with, because in life, nothing's free. You only get what you give, you gotta give it. Show that you're a player. You gotta be a player. That's the reason why politicians write off me. Because they don't participate. I represent a community in my district in Central Falls, Rhode Island. It's 85% Latino. The mayor denied a Justice Department grant to hire bilingual dispatchers who spoke Spanish. I mean, you got 85% of the city. English is the second language, primary language is Spanish, and you got a dispatcher who doesn't understand Spanish? Well, there's a problem, okay? Guess what? He said, no, I'm not going to take the extra money. Why? Because the Latino community in that area doesn't vote. And what he does know is that 50% of the white seniors, French, Canadian, Italian, Irish, they don't like those people. Okay? And you know what? If you just look like you're like caving in to those people, you've lost their vote. But they're the only ones who vote. So why do you want to screw with that? You're doing the bidding of the 15%, not the 85%. It's a simple equation, simple mathematics. So you want respect, you gotta earn it. And I love the famous quote of Winston Churchill said, "A life is what you get. A living is what you make. A life is what you give." It's a notion that we're not just people who need, housing, food, employment. We need sustenance for our soul. It's part of the human person. You're isolated, you're in trouble. And so the best health care is people connection. It's people touching people and not allowing them to be alone in their homes or left out there. And everybody's going around busy. But to the extent that they can find somebody that cares about them, their life is transformed. And, with suicide rates so high, depression so high, addiction rates so high, it should be a sign that something's not working out there. The way we got this thing organized isn't really the best way we could have. Because if it worked better, people felt better, you wouldn't have all these indices of dysfunction, which are really just a symptom of a disease. Dis-ease inside you. And I think the medicine on this one is pretty simple. And it's people. And it's connection. And it's doing all the things that Safe Haven and all of you are working on trying to do. Because it's not from the top down, it's from everybody working together. That's a model that we have figured out in this country. Everybody's a team here, a participant. It's not someone telling you what to do or someone else. Everybody's a partner. So I just wanted to wish you well and hope that you do succeed.